Climate change is an existential threat for conflict-ridden Afghanistan as of now. The South Asian country is in the grip of one of the worst droughts and food shortage crisis in decades. Droughts for the second consecutive year has now threatened to exaggerate the all-encompassing humanitarian crisis. Our next report has more details. Have a look.
Millions of Afghans have seen it all in the last few decades. A power conflict on their soil. A war in the hands of outsiders hungry for control. A war that claimed millions of lives. Mourning the loss of their loved ones. There are Afghans who also witnessed nature's fury. If life in the hills of Afghanistan was not grueling enough, climate change and its devastating impact shook people to their core. Fed up by rain and snow melt from mountains, this valley, nestled among northwestern Afghanistan's jagged peaks, was once fertile. But in the last few decades, record rise in temperature and frequent droughts have left the land barren.
I remember from childhood, from the age of 2 until recent years, there was a lot of snow in the winters. In spring we had a lot of rain. But for a few years there has been drought. There is no snow, there is much less rain. It is not even possible to get one bowl of water from the drain pipes and use it.
Climate change and unending conflict has led to mass migrations from Afghan hills. Hundreds and thousands have left their homes for Iran or are leading their lives as refugees in overcrowded camps for displaced Afghans. Battered by 4 decades of war, frequent droughts, poverty and hunger, Afghans have also had to contend with an economy in free fall. When the Taliban took over Afghanistan, the West froze all its foreign assets. Most of funding and aid programs also stopped. A country already tackling poverty was left to fend for itself. Millions cannot feed their families. Almost all children born suffer from malnutrition.
The government was not prepared for the situation because there was nothing left for us from the previous government, and from the economic perspective, there was nothing left for us. We tried through the aid groups and we've had meetings with them and we told them about the problems of the people.
Experts predict climate change will make droughts even more frequent and severe. They have been ringing the alarm bell over Afghanistan for years. Over the last 2 decades, 14% of the country's glaciers have melted. While the frequency of drought has doubled as compared to the last decades of the 20th century. Afghanistan is crying for help. The people are dealing with 2 challenges they have no control over. They have no part to play in droughts. They can only mourn their lost land and plead to the world for help. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.